The world has gone to shit. Every day something seems to be happening crazier and crazier, right? The gas is too high, the milk is too high, the bread is too high, the rent is too high, everything is high. What kind of rights do you have? Do you have any rights? We haven't had these rights taken away in 50 years. We've had these rights all our lives. What is going on? What is up? For real. Makes you not want to deal with anything, right? But we're adults. We got to deal somehow. Unless you do, make a getaway. Unless you do want to perform a Blaxit. Here's who's up on the show tonight, on the Shawn Show.
Tonight on the Shawn Show, artist Zsudayka Nzinga Terrell, author of the Blaxit Effect, Noelle Ojo, from Comedy Central and parts all over, comic Kanisha Bus, and Globetrotter Rated Love, Fernando Savage.
That's right. And how y'all like that new music? Do you like the new music? Well, you're going to check it out because here's a dope new open. Play my credits. I love that music. Makes me feel like I'm back in my cabinet days. Because, you know, I used to rock them cabinets with Luke and the... Okay, I didn't do any of that shit. Hey, look who's up. It's Dr. Ira Davis.
How you doing, brother?
Dr. Davis, how you be?
I'm doing fine. Fine as I can be.
So we have a fantastic show tonight. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's about something that it almost seems like it's a part of Black American mythological lore, right? Mm-hmm. The idea of leaving this country, right? So I wanted to ask, I always bring you on so we could explain an ish, and we have a huge guest list tonight, so that's why I brought you up early at the early part of the show, because we have so many headlines to get on with, but I want you to explain an ish, but I cannot let you explain an ish without playing your package that goes like this.
Let's hit it.
And now it's time for Ira Explains the Ish. Take it away, Ira Davis.
Dr. Ira Davis, my good longtime friend, there with the Outcast shirt. You're rocking it. It looks beautiful in that red and black den or wherever you at. And the theme of the show is the Getaway. And so we have a couple of persons on here. Noelle Ojo, who's a great friend of our high school classmate, Erica Smith. Okay. FAMU, I think, is what's being repped. I see her in the green room. I see you, Noelle. FAMU is being represented, but she's written a fantastic book called The Blaxit Effect, which takes the term of Brexit, British exit, and just mix black with Blaxit, and like for folks who want to leave America, particularly for Africa, because she has a lot of experience in that. Now, you, I understand, are going to explain an issue with a very famous person who had those same ideas. Can you explain that issue?
Yes.
What is the issue, sir?
And the issue is I decided to give some background before I get there as well.
But it deals with W.E.B. Du Bois and his moving to Africa.
I like it. I like it. All right. You got 2 minutes. Can you do this in 2 minutes?
Yeah. Over the past 150 years, tens of thousands of African Americans have resettled in Africa. The United States has seen numerous back to Africa movements from the 1800s to contemporary times. For instance, Paul Cuffey, a prosperous former slave and businessman in post-colonial Massachusetts, spearheaded one of the first Black back to Africa movements and helped return settlers to Sierra Leone in 1815. Beginning in 1822, the white-led American Colonization Society resettled thousands of freeborn blacks and freed blacks in a region in West Africa next to Sierra Leone that became Liberia. Scholars heavily debate the American Colonization Society's motives, though. In the early 20th century, Marcus Garvey championed a Back to Africa movement that reminded us that Back to Africa remained an authentic part of the Black diaspora discourse, not a shunned reminder of the humiliation of a race and a continent. In the 1960s, the height of the civil rights movement, African Americans resettled in Guinea, Tanzania, and other African countries. Some, such as Stokely Carmichael, also known as Kwame Ture, joined the struggle for African liberation. W.E.B. Du Bois, the most important Black American protest leader in the United States during the first half of the 20th century, he shared in the creation of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP. He fought for peace throughout his life, and this eventually brought him into conflict with the United States Justice Department, who were caught up in the Red Scare of the 1940s and 50s. Du Bois was prosecuted, handcuffed, and arraigned, vilified, put on trial, but acquitted. Nevertheless, he chose to leave the U.S. behind and immigrated to Ghana at the invitation of President Kwame Nkrumah to create a new encyclopedia on the African diaspora. The 93-year-old Du Bois moved to Ghana to manage the project, acquiring his citizenship of the African country in 1961. But while he was there, the State Department refused to renew his passport, effectively annulling his American citizenship. A Back to Africa movement continues today, with hundreds of African Americans voluntarily leaving for Ghana and other African countries. And that is the ish.
Whew. Boy, you sure did explain that itch.
Thank you, brother.
W.E.B. Du Bois, I'm tired for some reason. W.E.B. Du Bois was in Ghana for the rest of his life.
Mm-hmm. And for the rest of his life, by that, understand that that was the latter part of his life. So I believe he was 91 or 93 when he went, and he passed at the age of 95.
Whew. Well,
but he spent the last part of his life because he was not allowed to come back to the United States. So a lot of us don't really get that part of the story.
Well, do we have any major writings and works from Dr. Du Bois in that time period?
Now, he was working on the Encyclopedia Africana, and for the most part, those volumes remained incomplete. He was unable to complete that project.
If Wakanda exists,
mm-hmm.
do you think it would be awesome in real life, or would it be colonized?
If Wakanda existed, they would have to do what goes on in Wakanda and keep everything a secret, because with Africa is the world's wealthiest country. wealthiest continent, but it has the poorest people. because Africa has been raped and robbed of all its mineral wealth. So they would have to do what they do in Wakanda and hide those resources. Like in Uganda, I believe about 2 weeks ago, they discovered a huge gold deposits that they had. One of the best things they could have did was just keep that secret from the world, because now you're going to see European nations probably coming in, and also with the neo-colonialism that's going on in Africa right now, there's a lot of Chinese intervention into the affairs of Africa as well right now.
You know, I'm so blessed to have you as a friend, and all of your knowledge. You know, we kick this stuff all the time ever since we were kids. But you disappoint me. All your P's, your H's, and your D's, and you said coulda did.
What did I say, brother?
You just said coulda did. We coulda did.
Okay, look.
You splitting. I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you.
I reserve the right to use that. Like,
all right, right is reserved. Right is reserved. Real last question before we bring up sponsor Kim Dudley from the Body Butter Bakery. Say, Ira, have y'all considered moving?
Yes, we have considered moving. That has been something that we've considered. Either moving to Africa or moving somewhere in the Middle East. So that has been a actual real consideration. And actually, you know, for me, my mind, I think one of the first things you got to do is get your mind moved back to Africa. So I know for me, for like the last 30 years almost, you know, I've been moving my mind to Africa. You know, what I mean by that is, you know, trying to reconnect with that past. You know, one of the first things, you know, is trying to find as much about my history after our people was brought to America. You know, slavery erased a lot of that, but reclaiming as much of that history as possible. Other things that I've done as well, you know, when you couldn't go any further, taking DNA tests, you know, learning that my maternal lineage, you know, goes back to Nigeria, learning in a part of the Hausa and Fulani people, learning that my paternal lineage goes back to the Mbundu people in Angola. And then, you know, and then having an admixture test to see the other areas of Africa that I descend from. And even out of that, you know, I was able to find an actual African cousin who reached out to me. He's from the Akan people, a subgroup of them known as the Valet people, which is a subgroup that is in Cote d'Ivoire. And so he's, you know, kind of told me where the family comes from, surnames of the family and all this stuff, you know, so reaching out. Also, he's told me what my day name would be there. So my name would be Kwame, you know, be my day name in that region. So like the first thing is that you have to make a conscious effort to move your mind back to Africa first, I think. Then it's easier to move yourself back to Africa, you know.
Get your diet right before you get on that spaceship.
Right? Yeah.
You know, astronauts have to eat different foods, have different diets, and have to work their core muscles that they never knew existed before they get up in that zero gravity. You know what I'm saying? Right. Leaving America is a space trip. Yeah. We're going to explore it later on tonight. Thank you so much, Brother Davis. I'm going to close you out with your music, and then we're going to have this message from Body Butter Bakery, and then we'll say hey to Kim. But once again, thank you so much. Love you. Have a good holiday.
I love you too, bro. All right. See you. Same to you.
And now it's time for Ira Explains the Ish. Take it away, Ira Davis.
The Shawn Show is brought to you by Body Butter Bakery. Visit www.bodybutterbakery.com for beard and body oils, hydrating shower gels, and nourishing body scrubs with popular scents like strawberry lemonade, mango and pineapple, and champagne apple and honey. bodybutterbakery.com, a proud sponsor of The Shawn Show.
Yes, we are brought to you by the Body Butter Bakery, and coming in from the Body Butter Bakery studios, factory really, because it's not studios. I'm in the studios. Kim Dudley, how the hell you doing, Kim?
I'm doing. I still haven't figured out how to landscape my my phone.
Oh, Lord Jesus, are you an Apple user?
I am.
And this fantastic technology doesn't do it for you?
Wow. Well.
You know, because y'all are so freaking snooty over there.
No.
At the We Love Apple.
I didn't bring it up.
All right, I won't bring it up either. We do have Tyrone's supposed to join us a little bit later, Kim, but we'll see if he actually makes it because he might be a little bit held up. But we have a loaded show. You're sponsoring a great show tonight. So we have Noelle Ojo from the Blaxit Effect. I've known her for about a decade and a half, about 2 decades, give or take. She nods her head. I see her in the green room through a mutual friend of ours. And she's been back and forth and from the continents, and she's been living in Africa. And she's decided to write this book to say, hey, I know y'all been thinking about it. This is how the hell you do it. Have you ever thought about it, Kim?
I've thought about it. It sounds so intense, like in like an involved process. You know, it's not like moving from Florida to Georgia. It's like, do you leave everything here and start over there? What do you start with when you get there? How do you get in a car, all kind of stuff? It just sounds like I would need a checklist.
Well, she has a table of contents. How about that?
that would work. Yeah.
She has an index that maybe you could look at. But since we're here, the common African diasporatic trait is to take care of our skin. And you are one of the foremost body butter creators and skin producers on the come up. You've always working in the lab. What do you have going on this week? Anything that we can promote?
Well, for tonight, I'm going to do a 30% off code until midnight Eastern. All existing products. I won't release anything new right now. I'm doing pretty good on my timing on processing right now. So
you clearing out?
Yeah, trying to.
Whew. All right. So 30% off. What's the code, Kim?
Getaway.
Did you like the promo where I found that Bobby Brown clip?
Oh, yeah. Bobby.
What's so problematic about Bobby Brown?
Again, with the words. I didn't say that.
Hey, you know who's gonna? I bet you he likes Bobby Brown. Hey, Ty, do you like Bobby Brown?
Yeah, right.
Listening to him back then, if he wasn't listening to Prince, I'm not sure he was listening to Bobby Brown.
I was listening to Bobby Brown and Prince.
I was listening to Bobby Brown.
Okay, all right.
A little bit. Hey, Kim, I'm.
You doing that again?
Back just for you, Kim.
You don't know what you want to do.
So Kim does have a line of products for gentlemen as well. I did not receive my new products. I think someone just took it from my doorstep and ain't ever given it back.
I did.
Ty got his joints. And I'm incredibly jealous.
To Ty.
Ty was out of the country.
You're right.
Picking trips. Ty ass was in Denmark.
Mm-hmm. I got him. The oils, right?
Great. So 30% off. Kim is not now new product until the fall. Is that right, Kim? So she's clearing out inventory.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's getting to be a lot. So yeah.
So she's clearing out this inventory, and okay, cool. It's good to see Ty again. I got about one more full show in me this summer, Ty.
Okay.
It's gonna be a loaded show. I'll talk about it in the next hour, but let's get through this one, and let's say bye to Kim. Thank you, Kim, and thank you for the Layla Hathaway ticket. I know you couldn't make it.
I know, but it's okay because I did just see her last month, so that softened the blow a little bit.
Well, Layla show looked good to me. She sounded good too.
I'm breaking up. Oh no! Technical difficulty.
Bye, Kim.
All right, see ya.
Ty, what's going on, boy?
No, man. Why do you do that?
Because it's easy.
Hey,
All right. So Ty, we just covered current events. I do have to run this quick interview real quick because Dr. Matthews had something to say about the abortion issue. And so we're going to run that, and then we're going to bring up Noelle. But I thought it was just timely since Roe just got overturned. So I want to run this clip real quick as soon as I find it.
So, yeah, guys, this is not live. This is a taped interview. But as soon as I saw the decision come down on Friday on Roe v. Wade, I knew that this would affect millions of women and families in America, period. And whenever it comes to something health-wise, I always talk to friend of the show and my dear friend, Dr. Barbara Walker, MPH, well-degreed, as you can see behind her, that she has them all hanging back there. And she can give us a skinny as to what this actually means beyond the scope of, hey, I don't want this baby anymore. So, Dr. Walker, first, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
Good to be here.
You. Yeah, it's not good under the circumstances for many people. And this is not to cast any aspersions or any political views on the matter of abortion, but this is a sea change. And this is something that was available for essentially 50 years, and now it's gone. So in my lifetime and a very small portion of your lifetime, this is a sea change for women. I wanted to repeat this tweet that I saw. A woman, and this became very popular, this was floating around. A woman said the treatment for an ectopic pregnancy is abortion. The treatment for a septic uterus is abortion. The treatment for a miscarriage that your body won't release is abortion. If you can't get those abortions, you die. You die. She was clearly going for the dramatic Rachel Maddow effect with the last two sentences, but you do die if you don't get these procedures. And what are these things? Ectopic pregnancies, septic uterus, miscarriage. Can you explain what an ectopic pregnancy is?
So an ectopic pregnancy is when the baby implants somewhere other than your uterus. So it's growing in your fallopian tube or on your kidney or in your liver or in your intestines instead of in the uterus. And obviously that's not a good idea. Mm-hmm. and will destroy you. It'll kill you if you don't get it taken care of. A septic uterus is when your uterus is just super infected to the point that the bacteria is getting into your bloodstream and you are about to die. So the only way to fix it is to remove the offending agent, which would be the uterus in this case, which might have a baby in it, but you can't do that if you can't abort people. After some people want 12 weeks, some people want ever, what was the other one? You said ectopic?
Septic uterus and just a simple miscarriage.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. So a lot of times babies will die just from natural causes in the womb. And normally you evacuate those babies, one, for the mother's mental health, because to walk around carrying a baby that you know is dead for months and months and months that's just mental torture. Two, it decomposes. And so that increases the risk for the septic uterus, which could lead to you not ever being able to have children again. So you don't just leave dead babies just sitting in the uterus indefinitely. You want to go ahead and evacuate those as soon as possible to reduce the odds of complications and to improve the odds of that woman being able to get pregnant again in the future. So it just makes sense to, and some people would say, well, it'll come out eventually. No, it can create a lot of problems before it comes out.
No, Doc Walker, I got this fish tank and I know that I have to remove the dead fish out of the tank or else all life in the tank dies. So it's the same thing with babies and fetal material. I hate to say fetal material, but yeah, that's what we're talking about. So when you're looking at those things, and if it's possible to be cumulative to women's health concerns in situations. How many women could be affected by things that are around the abortion issue on a health basis, just with the naming of these issues right here and whatever else that we can fathom that will complicate matters for women's health?
I would say all of us. It's like, you know, like I'm not gonna be having a baby anytime soon. But my daughter might, my niece might, you know. And so it affects everybody. You know, if my niece has to die because some Yahoo in Washington decided that they knew more than the doctors did, that's a problem. So it's a problem really for all of us. Way back years ago, even before this Roe thing was overturned, there were restrictive laws on the books, especially when it came to teenagers in a lot of states. And to keep everything very vague, I was involved in a situation where a teenager was pregnant and had an undiagnosed heart problem. And the extra blood volume that you get in pregnancy overwhelmed her heart. And she went into heart failure, complete heart failure. And she needed an abortion, but she was 14. Her parents were pro-life, would not agree to the abortion. The parents in that state were the deciders. So to override that decision, you would have to get a court order from a judge, is what you would have to do. The girl wanted to live, was more than willing to have the abortion, wanted to live, begged us, please don't let me die. I want to live. So we went to court and fought for her to have the right to make her own health decisions when it came to this. And of course, that takes time. She's in complete heart failure. You don't have time. You don't have time. So we tried to duct tape and glue her together as best we could with the best of technology that was available at the time. And we kept her alive. And this is the sad thing. We kept her alive. I didn't sleep for a week, I don't think, trying to keep that girl alive. And not literally, but you know what I mean. Very little sleep. And we finally get the judgment from the judge. The judge clears it, you know. But by this time, her heart is decimated. And the hospital that did transplants wouldn't accept her before we did the abortion. But of course, that's a lot on a heart that's already dying to go through. And she died on the helicopter on the way to the transplant hospital.
14. Yep.
And if she had gotten that abortion when she arrived at the hospital, like she should have, it was like close to a week in between the time when she showed up in the hospital and when we were able to get the court order. Close to a week. If he could have done that the same day or even the next day, like, it would have been a whole different story. So you start talking about that being policy in half the states in the country, where there's going to be a line to get a court order. You see what I'm saying? Because it won't just be this one person that has this odd situation where there's a sticky law and it's like it doesn't happen that often.
And the courts are already backed up. Plus, anything legal costs money, and time and money hurts the working class and the poor amongst us, and particularly minorities. Yeah. So, if you could speak to how will this affect? Will it be? Do we have a fold behind it, like 3-fold, 5-fold? Is there a possibility for minority women, particularly Black women? What does this mean?
This is gonna crush minority women and not just Black women, Hispanic women, Southern women who live in the South. Mm-hmm. This is going to crush all of them because you're going to have to travel so far to get help when you need it. I suspect the entire southeast corner of the United States, maybe minus Florida, is going to ban abortion. And then your closest abortion might be Maryland, and you live in Georgia. Or your closest abortion might be, you know, Missouri or something. Well, Missouri doesn't like abortion.
Certainly not Missouri.
It's not gonna be
No.
Missouri.
They was the first in the country.
Right. It
Yeah.
might be Michigan that you got to go to get an abortion. And we're talking about medical conditions that you need one for, not necessarily, I just don't want to have a baby right now.
And then Illinois is one of those states that's surrounded. It's landlocked by states that are going to repeal or have repealed abortion. So these few clinics in these states are going to be flooded and crazy busy. And that may be, and of course, when you're talking about a pregnancy or an abortive situation, time is of the essence. I mean, you really need it.
Yeah, so that was a conversation I had with Dr. Matthews. Have I frozen?
No, you're here.
Well, you hear me, but my picture has frozen for some reason.
Yeah. You're frozen.
That's terrible. But I will say this as we wait for that to get cracking. There was something that, and by the way, Dr. Matthews did say that there are like 1,000, and she wasn't joking or what have you. There are about 1,000 types of situations where women could need an abortion beyond they don't want a pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thorny subject, but I want people to actually think about the new status quo as we move into this era. But there was something that she did say that was pretty interesting that did tie in to the overall theme, and I'm going to play it right here.
You have a son who's fantastic, creative fella in Australia.
Yep, did the art on the book.
He did the art on the book. He did the art on this book right here, and he wants to stay in Australia.
He does not want to come home.
He does not want to come back.
Yep, sees the direction the country is in and wants no part of it, and fully plans on living internationally indefinitely.
Thank you, everybody. This is Tyrone Wilson. Welcome to the Shawn Show. Looks like I will take it from here. That was a very, very good image from the book. I've heard great stories of Australia myself. So, if there was an option to live there in a different country, Australia would be up there for me. Denmark would be up there for me, and maybe even Zimbabwe for me. So yeah, if you have any questions about what you think about Roe v. Wade being overturned, talks about abortions, there was a mention that there's at least 1,000 different reasons as to why a woman would need an abortion. I can understand how the decision could affect you or someone in your family. So it is definitely something that, we empathize with, especially me. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I put that out there before Shawn comes back and I didn't have a chance to say how I felt. If you listen to one of Shawn's previous shows when Roe v. Wade came up, and the possible, I think there was it was just a rumor at the time because someone found some documentation saying that it would possibly get overturned. I shared my thoughts, and I know Shawn said to not make it political, but I don't think it's really political at all. I think it's just very straightforward as to why that's happening. In addition to it being a show of force, I believe it's also a calculated decision, and there's going to be more decisions that's going to affect a lot of different people in a negative manner, and I just feel like we should prepare for that. There's a couple of things that I feel. One, I feel like, they want their country back, and they feel like they're losing their country. So they're either going to take it back by a show of force, or they're going to crush everything. If they can't have it, no one can. So those are just some things that I keep in mind when I start to see things that just don't make sense. When there's a decision that's made that overturns 50 years of legislation, then there's a reason for that. Do you know what I mean? Like, and this wasn't something that just happened overnight. I feel like this, among other decisions, landmark decisions, have been in the works for years. So definitely prepare yourselves. Because in my opinion, there's going to be some things that are just not going to make any sense at all to you. But it's going to make a lot of sense to the people who are making these decisions. They try to say that voting doesn't matter, but this is a clear sign that voting does matter. So you are, when you come across people who say, why are we voting? This is the reason why. So it's not just the president. The president has the ability to appoint judges from the Supreme Court all the way up to the 250 something judges appointed by the last president. And there ain't no telling, what the underlying agenda is for these judges. You can already see that at the highest court in the land, they don't seem to care. They don't seem to care that they're hurting so many people by this decision. But like I said, I feel it's calculated. So we'll see what happens. Boom, just got a message that, Shawn's having a little bit of difficulty coming back in. So I'll take it over for now. Not a problem at all. If anyone in the audience has any questions or comments, chime in and I'll try to answer them. So we got one about what do you think about Roe v. Wade being overturned as a man? Oh wow. Yeah. I mean, I have a sister. I have, a lot of women in my family, of course. Well, so my family, other than a medical reason, we were a family that just wasn't big on abortions, from what I know. Not trying to be funny, but there are times where I kind of wish some of my cousins had gotten an abortion. Either they just aren't ready financially, mentally, and emotionally. But as a man, I really don't want to say that I'm not. What's a good word? I don't want to say I am not empathetic, because that would do a disservice to all of the women who are affected. But it's just one of those things where when it doesn't affect you, it gets harder to empathize. I try to speak out. I try to, show my support whenever I can, whenever situations come up like this. But to answer the question, Roe v. Wade being overturned, my thoughts as a man. I want to make sure I word it right. My thoughts as a man. It's tough, because you want the best for the country. You want the best for, your people. You want the best for your family. And this decision feels like they're not putting the best interests of the people I care about at the forefront. So it makes it really, really difficult to have respect for people that aren't respecting you, if that makes sense. So for me, it's not just, about what my sexual orientation is or my chromosomes, but it's more to it than that. Let's see, did I miss any other questions? I hope I answered that. A friend who's a doctor. All right, so to catch up, when this came up on one of Shawn's earlier seasons, I said that it was going to be a power grab. I said it was about numbers. It was about power. They realized that, they lost an election off of a few votes, 30,000 to be exact, or close to it. So numbers matter. And it wasn't a decision about tomorrow. It was a decision about years from now. And not trying to be funny, but there was a comment, right on stage. They are calling it a Freudian slip, but you can look it up yourself. Right at one of the rallies, there was a woman that said, "Thank you for preserving white life." And I couldn't help but chuckle, because I believe in the show, I said it's all about the 14 words. If you don't know what the 14 words are, look them up. It essentially says that they'll do whatever it takes to, make the world better for white children. So all the talking points about, pregnancies, all the talks about how it's going to hurt women, I believe that those are the things that they want you to talk about. So you're not talking about what it really is.